Hello, I'm Philip Chase. Welcome to my YouTube channel on the best of fantasy. I'd like to begin today's video with a great big heartfelt thank you to all the people who have subscribed to my channel thus far. I have reached a milestone. The channel now has over 1,000 subscribers. And so I'd like to celebrate that milestone by having a little giveaway, a little token of my gratitude. So that's something I'll be doing in the next few days. Probably in a couple days, I'll release another video, my 1,000 subscriber giveaway video. So I do hope you will join me for that. Today's video is going to be on Mark Lawrence's Prince of Fools, which is, of course, the first book of the Red Queen's War trilogy, which is also set, incidentally, in the same world as the Broken Empire Trilogy. In fact, it is concurrent with the Broken Empire Trilogy. I'd like to begin with the characters. The Prince of Fools is very much a character-centered narrative, as I believe Mark Lawrence's books are in general. It might actually be useful to contrast the main character, the protagonist and narrator of the Broken Empire Trilogy, Jorg Ankrath, with the main character, protagonist, and narrator of Prince of Fools, and I assume of the entire trilogy, the Red Queen's War, Jalin Kendeth. So Jorg Ankrath and Jalin Kendeth both are princes, but they have very different characters. Jorg, on the one hand, is kind of a gloomy and intense, traumatized and brilliant character. And he most certainly sets the tone as the main event of the Broken Empire Trilogy. In a similar sense, Jalin Kendeth sets the tone of Prince of Fools. Jalin is a prince of Red March, 10th in line to the throne, in fact, which is occupied by his grandmother, the Red Queen. And he uses his status to lead a rather profligate life. He is a self-proclaimed coward, and he is a womanizer, and he is certainly quite a rogue. In spite of his denials, though, Jalin has a heart, and that is most evident in the relationship that he has with his great uncle Garius, something that he kind of keeps hidden from other people, and also it's obvious in the regard that he has for his mother's locket. Self-deception is a major theme of the book, and I would say that Mark Lawrence's particular take on the lovable rogue with a heart is really brilliantly executed. Lawrence is just a very smart writer, something that I felt when I read the Broken Empire Trilogy, and reading Prince of Fools has certainly confirmed that impression for me. Now, despite the differences that are established by the protagonists of these two trilogies, the fact is Prince of Fools is, while a lighter narrative than the Broken Empire Trilogy, is still a narrative with plenty of violence and pain and some very grim moments. Now, speaking of grim, the other main character in Prince of Fools is Snorri Versnagason. And you could probably tell from the name that Snorri is from the north, the frozen wastes of the north. And he is a character who is sort of stereotypically Nordic, big and strong. And there's a little bit more to him, though. He's also a very smart character. He's perceptive, and he's gained some wisdom from some really hard experience, making him a much more complex character than the initial stereotype that you might think of when you just meet him for the first time. Also, somehow Snorri has managed to preserve a sense of humor. Some of the most lighthearted and wonderful moments of the book come when Snorri is teasing Jalin. For example, he calls him Jal, even though that grates on Jalin. And he treats Jalin as an equal, in spite of the fact that Jalin is a prince and there's a big gap between them, socially speaking. But make no mistake about it, Snorri has suffered some major trauma, and he has nothing to lose in his quest for vengeance. The book actually hinges on the relationship between these two characters, Jalin and Snorri. And they are, of course, an interesting contrast, the two of them. And what develops between them is really the heart of the book. They are opposites who are magically bound and forced to work together. Snorri's presence gives the book a more Nordic feel than the Broken Empire trilogy. And a lot of the setting is up in the very cold, frozen wastes of the north. It's also fairly evident that Mark Lawrence did his homework in familiarizing himself with the appropriate cultural references and landmarks. There's also one really wonderful narrative touch that is included in Prince of Fools. And I mentioned before that you have Jalin as the main narrator, and just as in the Broken Empire trilogy, you have a lot of the story told through flashbacks. But Snorri's part of the story is something that gets told in Jalin's presence. Snorri is something of a storyteller, and so gradually his tale unfolds as he reveals more of himself and becomes closer to Jalin. And that involves a lot of growth for Jalin as well. There also are some really nice cameos with characters from the Broken Empire trilogy. The Prince of Thorns, the first book of that trilogy, is pretty much concurrent with Prince of Fools. And so you could actually read the Red Queen's War trilogy without having read the Broken Empire trilogy. However, I think you might miss a little bit of the context, and perhaps you would get a deeper understanding of the big behind-the-scenes villain in the Red Queen's War trilogy, and that is the Dead King. You would understand a little bit more about who that is and what his motives are if you have read Broken Empire trilogy first. So I would recommend doing that, though it's not necessary. Prince of Fools has an immediate antagonist in Sven Brokor, and there are other various seedy, nasty characters, some of which are working for the Dead King, but none of them are really well developed. They simply serve the purpose of being effective threats that serve as a catalyst for the relationship between Snorri and Jalin. As in the Broken Empire, there are also some very powerful behind-the-scenes characters who are sort of the puppet masters of this world. There's the Silent Sister, for example, whose magic sets the whole plot in motion. And not least among the powerful is Jalin's grandmother, the formidable Red Queen. Magic remains relatively unexplained and mysterious in this story. It really serves the story where needed. This is not really about the magic so much as it's fantasy that has some magic in it. And there is, of course, a connection to the Builders. And if you've read Broken Empire Trilogy, you know what I mean. I don't want to give anything away, though. But the Builders were essentially the advanced civilization that preceded the Broken Empire. Lawrence's particular take on the theme of a fallen world is actually really well done. So all in all, Prince of Fools appears to begin a most worthy sequel to the Broken Empire trilogy. I really love Lawrence's character work. It is my favorite thing about his writing. But as I said before, he's just in general a very smart writer. He's got some nice plots with some surprises in there. And I'm pretty sure that Jalin and Snorri will be inhabiting my head long after I have finished reading the Red Queen's War trilogy. And I'm also very much looking forward to getting into book 2 in a few weeks, perhaps. So, please, I'd love it if you would join me for my 1,000 subscriber giveaway video. I'll be releasing that in a couple days. Again, I'll be giving away just a little token of my gratitude to all the wonderful subscribers and viewers, people I've interacted with and learned so much from. This has been a really wonderful journey so far, and I'm so looking forward to continuing with it. And also, I'll be releasing my regularly scheduled video next Saturday, and this one's going to be on the first short story collection of The Witcher. So yes, I've taken the advice of actually quite a few viewers and subscribers who recommended that rather than start with the first novel, I should begin The Witcher stories with the short story collection. So that's what I'm doing. I'm listening to you guys, and I really, once again, appreciate all the advice and the help. And I hope you'll join me for those videos next week. All right, till next time.